guys, hey, welcome back to the menu. This is a big episode for us. It's November, Men's Mental Health Month. It's me, Shoot with Scoot, aka Scoot, the one and only, you can't clone me.
Fruity Realtor?
Nah, he's Vanilla Spice.
Yes, it's stuck, didn't it?
Yep. Young Chef A Vanilla Spice right here. Then myself, your mom's favorite ex, David Dior.
Oh my God. Cancel culture, here we come.
Camila's dad.
Alright, man. So, yesterday was my birthday. So I was like, I'm hosting this week.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Scoot.
We've been anticipating this pod for a while.
Pass one down.
This is our mental health pod. Me, super mental health advocate. Something I got deep into these past 6 months of my life, just with some life pushing me to do it. But get things started off. We're just gonna go around and talk about what mental health means to us.
I'll start off. For me, it's all about mindset, man. You are what you think. So, for me personally, I'm very open and I see a lot of things. I follow everybody back that follows me. So I see everything, especially with my profession. So for me, it's having that mindset to really focus on the positive stuff and not the negative stuff. You can ask wifey, man, I'll have bad days. Like, I'll snap at her and like she's been more vocal about it lately, like stop snapping at me. And I tell her it's never personal, like I don't do it personal. I just have, sometimes I'm too accessible. I'm reading too much stuff. I'm always on my phone and shit just puts me in moods. So mindset for me, from men, is like huge. You gotta be able to negotiate through all the BS and really have your mindset.
Oh.
Your time.
Wasn't expecting this so soon.
Happy birthday to Scoop, man.
Happy birthday, Scoop.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Scoop.
Yes, sir.
Men's mental health.
Soju.
Man, where do I start? I can honestly go on for forever, but I'm gonna just say men's mental health, it starts more when we're on our way to becoming men, I think. And it's something that we may not have tried to let others know, but at that time I think it was so much of our pride that we kind of shunned it out. And like myself, used to chill in some people's bathrooms and just cry to try to get over things, or contemplate doing some stupid things that I'm not going to mention. But I'll say it starts off young, and I think it should be more of some of us parents should catch on to early. If you're noticing, I can't even say there's men's mental health on this, just mental health in general. If you notice that your offspring's off, they're not being themselves, reach out and talk to them. Or if they're trying to talk to you, you should take some more time to listen. And then that also goes for our bigger brothers and sisters. Do the same thing, because once you get older, that it hits you harder, because you have a lot more access to things that you can easily go off and do. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm overthinking it now, because my Jordan's been my day one, and he kind of knew what I was going through when I was little. You guys may not know, and I don't want to get into that. I don't need to get into it, but
it's gonna be a long episode. So you might get
it's unfiltered.
Hey, if you get a little bit of water in your eyes, that's okay.
Oh man, of course. I think there's gonna be water in that tonight.
That might be the goal.
But we talked about it a lot too in our first couple episodes. Just shut up more and listen more, honestly, because that's where it starts. Even if some people's stuff might come off as BS to you, but they're really trying to reach out to you, asking for a heap of help. A lot of us nowadays still won't, send out that text message hey, I'm not feeling too good, or hey, you want to meet up, hey, you want to do this. Sometimes you got to swallow that pride and let it go and be that bigger person. when it comes to your health, because health is always better than your wealth, always be that bigger person and just reach out to someone. And those who are getting reached out to, like I said, just shut up and listen. Don't let things escalate and before it's too late. You know, spend some more time with people, get to know some more time with people, especially your men's. So it is men's mental health awareness. Like, I think honestly, ladies get it bad, and that's because I think us men give it to them bad. And we saw some videos recently. We're not going to talk about online, but I think that has to do a lot. That has to do a lot with, like I said, mental health. Nobody actually knew what was going on in that situation or those situations, but it starts with us men being able to
communicate our feelings.
Exactly. And even if we sound like some bitches, let us be some bitches. We're going to be the bigger bitches at the end of the day, but we're going to get through things. I'm going to leave it at that for now, and we'll go ahead and let Young Chef get on the mic.
All right. Well, for me, I got to take a little bit different approach, different side to it. For me, mental health and mental health awareness is about how you treat others. For me, it doesn't even play gender as far as the topic as a whole. I understand men's mental health is not thought of and has a different stigmatism around it, but I feel like it's all about how you treat other people. Do you understand your own mental health? Do you understand where you're at? Can you keep those emotions in check? And like you said, we see plenty of videos where people can't, they forget playground rules, keep your hands to yourself. And like I said last week, you need to make time to just let things go. Understand your own priorities. Have a good time with your guys. There was a story, I was on the way over here thinking about the podcast and listening to the radio, and they were talking about how men and women are arguing over whether or not it's okay if your spouse goes alone to the bar. And is that acceptable? And the studies that they had found showed that women, it was okay to go to the bar alone, but the guys, it was almost cringy. They didn't like that idea. It said that they were creepy. That's one of those things for me. All right, if you can't keep your own emotions in check for a situation where your spouse, male or female, says, hey, I'm gonna go to the bar, I just want some alone time. Maybe they have a friend down there that they're gonna hang out with. You need to be able to have that. If you're so jealous that you can't deal with that, that's something you still need to be aware of. Hey, man, I have some emotions that are affecting the people around me, and you gotta think about that. So for me, it's about how you treat others, how you reflect your own feelings towards others, and how you want to be seen, remembered, perceived by others. Like, make up your mind of who you are. And maybe you're not doing so hot, maybe you're down in the dumps, and you need to have the mental awareness to say, hey, yeah, I need to ask for that help. Hey, I need somebody I can hang out with, somebody I can talk to, or a group of dudes that we could host a podcast with.
Right.
Amen.
For me, this is actually something that hits home because, like, July 7th, I started going therapy July 7th. So this is something that I definitely have had to deal with. Just from going back and actually really recovering, like, why I was the person I was. I learned that mental health is a multiverse. Shout out to Marvel for giving us that multiverse. Marvel, we ready to play in the movie? Just go ahead and give us a call when y'all ready. But
we're gonna wait to be on the first 10. Man, you said it.
Right, we're gonna be filming a podcast, and all of a sudden, I was just
we're gonna be just as good as Fantastic Four.
But it's definitely a hierarchy of everything you guys said is correct, and but it's just the way we express it. Like, the thing I hang my hat on with men's mental health is, as men, we are never ever taught how to express our emotions. The only emotions we ever learn how to express are anger and sadness, when it's to a level where you're so sad you have to cry. But there's not that in between where, like, man, you hurt me. Like, and go up to somebody and tell them, like, hey, you hurt me. Or, hey, you might have said something that, I just want to know what you meant with this. Like, and, as men, like you said, Jeff, our pride kicks in, and the first thing is like, hey, bro, so why you say that? And then it's automatically like that fight or flight response kicks in, and it's like, no, it's go time now. Versus like, hey, I just really want to let you know, like, I didn't agree with that, and things like that where, you know, growing up, you know, you see it, you know, and I'm one. When my nieces were kids, they fall over, I'm running to them, picking them up, dusting them up. It's gonna be okay. Holding them, spinning them in circles, trying to make them not cry. My nephews, they fall. Hey, dude, you all right? Get up. Don't cry. Don't cry. And like now with my 3-year-old nephew, like, you know, I do spend a lot more time trying to like run over and grab him and hug him. He'll fall, and I will pick him up, like dust him off, hold him. You okay? He'll be like, yeah. And it's like, you know, for so long we were always told, you don't want to be soft. Don't be soft. And it's like, having emotions and feelings don't make you soft. And once you, and the thing I think a lot of people don't know, once you actually unlock that and truly understand that, you are actually a stronger person, because now you know how to communicate, and so you don't fly off the hinges. Cause like, you know, like I remember people used to be like, oh, Scoot, you got roid rage, and they'd be like, nah, he's been like that his whole life. Like, I used to just fly off the hinges, and you know, it got bad to a point where there was a day I had to lock the room door, lock the bathroom door, lock the shower door, and lock the closet door, and just sit in the corner because I scared myself, because I never in my life thought I would get that mad. And I was like, nah, bro, like this isn't it. Like, and you know, I spent a good week alone where I was just like, how do I fix this? And that's when I was like, all right, you know, I'm gonna go to therapy. Like, they're gonna help me with my anger. And I walked in there, and it was like, so why are you angry? Well, because this situation. No, that's not why you're angry. That's why you acted out in anger. Why are you angry? I'm like, huh?
This is why I'm here for y'all to tell.
Yeah. And so it was like Jeff said, understanding where you're at. Because once you break down those barriers, break down those walls, and you end up discovering like, oh shit, like this is why I'm angry. This is why I act this way. I never forgave somebody for something they did to me 18 years ago. And I've been acting out on other people trying to take that anger out, and it's never gonna work. And so it's a multiverse of things. It's a hierarchy. Like everything you guys said is correct. And it's just about us truly understanding who we truly are mentally, physically, and emotionally.
I like how you say it's like a multiverse, because man, it's like the roll of the dice. Like every number means something different. Because I'm gonna ask you guys, we've had obviously we talk every day in society. So putting the personal emotions to the side and what you're dealing with personally, we've had conversations where things have happened in society, and we're like, everybody's fucking soft. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like there's like a very thin line. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The balance is
to treat them with that softness, go after them, tell them, hey, you'll be okay, we got you. And sometimes you do want to look at them, you're fine.
Yeah.
Get up.
It's very. So what I wanted to say was, do you guys agree that basically my question is, do you agree that there's a time and a place to be soft?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And then this is
the most misunderstood thing ever.
So when I started therapy, like, you know, when you initially start, you go in and you act like you open it up, but you ain't really opening it up. And my therapist, his name is Ron Clark, black dude. So he was like, hey, look, man.
I never knew that. I know that guy. I met him through my wife's brother. Real cool dude.
Yeah.
That guy is class act.
And so he was like, hey, look, man. He's like, you could be real with me. And I was like, nah, man, I'm being real with you. He's like, nah, you can be real with me. And he was like, you know, everybody has this stigmatism when it comes to mental health, that they don't want to look bad, or they don't want. And he was like, let me explain this to you. He's like, you know, there is some mental health issues that you bring upon yourself that I don't have any sympathy for. And this was like during the time of the Olympics. And he was like, you know, he's like, hey, what Simone Biles is doing, he's like, if that's what she needs to do, that's what she needs to do. What's Corday's girlfriend name?
The
Not
track runner?
Osaka. No,
tennis player.
Name it. He was like, the difference between those two is, he's like, Naomi Osaka does not go out there bragging about how good she is.
Fact.
She just goes out there and plays. She lost and she was upset about an interview, and it pushed her over the edge. You never heard her brag about, I'm the best right now. She never put on a jacket that said
she
go.
Come back and just destroy things.
Yeah. she never bragged about. She was humble. And after you're humble and you lose, it's okay to say, hey, I'm mad I lost. Let me go do my thing. But he was like, when it comes to Simone Biles, she ran around with the GOAT hoodie on. She was on all these TV shows. She was talking about how she was the best to ever do it. They don't like me because I'm the best to ever do it. Yada yada yada.
So it's not fair then.
And yeah,
she put that stress on herself.
So it's not fair. If you come off as macho, then you can't have a bad day.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is conversations I've had with like wifey. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I'm macho, the provider, I'm a cop, all this stuff, making sure everything's organized. I'm not allowed to have a bad day because
everybody has a bad day.
But everybody,
that's how you project it.
Yeah, everybody has a bad day.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's in the sense of, say Simone Biles didn't run around with the GOAT hoodie on, didn't do this, didn't do that, and she had a bad day. Hey, she had a bad day. Let's feel for her. But think about it, and like Ron put it to me this way. He said, LeBron loses the finals, and he comes out and says, mentally, I'm just not here. I need a mental break. He said the world would slander him.
Facts.
Because what does LeBron do? He brags about how good he is, and he was like, he's like, that's why, and that he told me, he said, that's where the difference in men's mental health. He's like, because at the end of the day, no matter how bad you will ever feel, the world's not going to accept you feeling bad because you're a man. You just have to suck it up. And he was like, that's the hardest part. He's like, he's like, I'm happy you came in here. He's like, but the hardest part for men getting over that hump of sharing their mental things is, at the end of the day, you fear being soft. And once you try to break that wall, everybody's going to look at you. And the first thing they're going to say, oh, he's soft.
I think of it this way. We all think of ourselves as big sports fans. And a saying that I've always related to is championships are won on your bad days. On my bad days, it's how I'm going to handle myself. Then maybe it's not like a championship, but it still makes me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life if I handled my bad days just as well as I handle my good days.
So with that, it kind of goes back to, I forgot who mentioned it, but basically we've said it before, like you can't really love anybody else or take care of anybody else until you're okay with yourself and you love it yourself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we see, especially in like today's age, a lot of stuff I'm going to relate to is just what's going on in society, everything that's been going on, and you can see the hate in people's heart, even when they think that what they're saying is right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you are saying this side versus that side, my side is right, my side is right. Like subconsciously, you don't even know. You don't even know that there's a bias and a hate in your heart.
Exactly, and like that's why I tell people all the time. Like when it comes down to situations, I don't put myself in like I used to hate when people like you got to put yourself in that other person's shoes. Why? I'm gonna look at the situation from the outside and view both sides. Like, all right, this is this side, this is this side. Okay, like, and that's a thing. I think actually that was gonna be the next topic we transition to. Mm-hmm. Where, like, what do you think affects your mental health the most? And that's a huge issue. And I remember doing a study on this. This was 3 years ago in college when I had first went back for my master's and then dropped out again. But it's another story. But I went back.
Shout out to Kanye. Hey, I'm not hearing this.
I just finished my master's in computer engineering, but like I remember I had a class and we were talking about like the social media algorithms and how they purposely set it up for you to continuously see things that they think you want to see. And so it's like, in today's world, I do photography, and a lot of times first thing I ask models when they're like, oh, this type of shit I want to do. So why? And they're like, huh? Nobody ever asked me that. And I'm like, I'm not asking you that because I'm not going to do it for you. I'm asking you that because why are you doing that? And you're like, oh, well, because I saw this person doing it, it was great. Or I saw this person doing it, it was great. And I'm like, you didn't tell me why you wanted to do it. You just told me you saw somebody else doing it. And it's like, because they get on those apps, and it's like, well, this person didn't, they got 4,000 likes. But then you do it, you get 25, and now you're, oh, well, let me delete this picture right now because nobody liked it. And then you post it another time, and you might get 30, but you're not getting those 4,000. So do you feel like you're not good enough because that person got 4,000 and you only got 30? And they're like, well, what were they doing that I didn't do? Nothing. It's a totally different aspect of things.
About your sphere too.
Yeah, but like that's the thing where, you know, so many people are conditioned because, oh, I like this celebrity, and this celebrity gets along with this person, and now all of a sudden, not the things you didn't even think you liked are now all of a sudden the things you're going around and doing, and it's like you see people start to catch themselves not doing the stuff they did before, and then they're like, oh, well, I don't know. It's like mentally you're just not who you were. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to understand you're basing your actions off of somebody else's who's already done this. So they're always a step ahead of you.
So that's a good point to me because like social media, I just started getting social media back actually, and the reason I had deleted a lot of my social media other than the police academy was they were other stuff on there that like I would look at and it was like, is this triggering? I'm tired of seeing this. I'm gone and I'm ghost. But I get back on now, and that just made me think of a good question. Like, do you think like a lot of social media has to do with like a lot of people's mental health nowadays?
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Bro, social media is poison, straight up. I mean, there's pluses to it because you can touch people and interact people, get people to come like our podcast, like our clothing line.
I just want the sports
I promote. Yeah. So at the end of the day, until you can look in the mirror and be like, I don't need to follow this, I don't need to follow that, I don't need to follow that, I don't need to follow that. Until you accept that you're seeing too much shit that's messing with your head, it's poison, man. Straight up.
But even with the sports updates, you know, you get that one or two athletes who end up doing something on the left side, then all of a sudden you're like, hold up, wait, and then you might be like, okay, I saw them do this, and then all of a sudden you watch that video, and all of a sudden all the thing, oh look, Ray Rice from 8 years ago, like, wait, what? I didn't want to see this. And then it starts to play in your head, where it's just like, dang, like, because these algorithms are literally set up. Like, I wish I could draw it out for you, but I would probably need this whole wall. Yeah.
All about what's going to drive the highest emotion, and anger always wins.
And yeah, and that's literally it. Like, boom.
America is off drama, yo. It's off drama.
Hold on, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah,
what?
You didn't see? Look right there.
Like, even the ESPN, like.
The bottom right there. NBA coaches react to Rittenhouse verdict.
Why do we care what they think of something outside of basketball?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Why they even go in the locker room and ask them, right?
I know there's this shut up
yeah.
and play ball thing. I'm not saying anything about shut up and play ball, but I really don't care what NBA coaches have to say about politics, the court case.
The wisest man ever in my life was my grandfather, and he watched every sporting event on mute. And I'd be like, Grandpa, why are you watching this shit on mute? He was like, I don't need to listen. He said, I'm a grown man. I got 6 kids. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's good. You're good. You're doing good in school. I don't need to listen to what anybody else has to say.
Look,
I was like, that makes sense.
I started when I found out that from grandpops. I started doing that, and still to today, when I play some video games, I put them on mute too because like they just incorporated and inherited like everything that's on TV and threw in these like. I play MLB The Show 21, and like those commentators and casters are like, what did this? What the fuck you just say? Put that shit on.
It's a video game.
Yeah,
the homie Nick posted one time, and the post was like you spend like the first half of your life like learning as much as you can, and then you hit like your 30s. Now you're just trying to learn like unlearn stuff, like this stuff that you got so much information that you don't need no more, like.
See that
like something you see every day. Yeah,
every management class will tell you about that.
You don't need
that's what I told Gabe earlier when he was like posting them, and I was like, bro, you just gotta let that go. Like the media is purposely set up. I'm like, if you watch this channel, it's gonna make you feel this way. If you watch this channel, it's gonna make you feel this way. You just gotta let it, like.
And we all fall for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For example, like Gabe's not with us today, but like Gabe will tell you like, oh man, I'm not worried about what people are saying. Like he said it before, like the perception versus reality. I'm not worried about what people saying. I'm not worried about what people do. But we all find ourselves at times. There's something's that catches us, and then we like give all the care in the world about.
Facts.
And that is
somebody
like
insult the way I work. Oh,
right.
That's one thing I won't let it go.
Yeah,
it's terrible, but I'll study.
By the way, Jeff works great when he's cooking. Before you go on there. I mean, he hasn't sold me a house yet, but he sold Jordan's beautiful house we're in.
So Jeff got me to buy this house. Little he know he gonna be coming over here as much as he did. Took him an hour to get over here.
Second home. What you talking about?
Took him an hour to get over here.
All my second home. So yeah, Sorry, I just had to say that. Jeff's great. Y'all looking for houses or need a chef? For hire. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Jeff's arch nemesis.
But I can't take credit for tonight's. Tonight's meal was Carol's.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with that.
She was throwing down.
All right. So he brought up.
But can I just say one
Go
quick
ahead.
thing?
Go ahead.
Hey, next time if you guys are muting it, make sure you're not watching Peyton and Eli.
Oh man.
Unmute it and listen to Peyton and Eli.
Hey, Peyton Manning be going in on their heads like this is horrible coaching. I just don't understand.
I love how upset he gets right coming up to any 2-minute warning. Why didn't you call a timeout? Okay, there was 45 seconds off the clock, and he just gets royally pissed every time.
I love it though because he's so into the game because he played for so long. Like I don't know why he's not
genuinely loves the game.
Wise. Like he would probably be a great head coach.
And he'd expect too much of him.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But that's great if you ask me.
Nah, it'll burn out everybody.
Not with players who get paid because they'll just be like, I want out. But no, Jeff brought up Carol, and I think mental health and relationships is a huge thing. It's a huge thing.
Man.
And so my question is, and this is because this literally is why I started going to therapy. Like, how do you not really cope when you don't feel the happiest in your relationship, but like, how do you get through that?
I'll start this off. And we kind of talked about it me and my wife. When I wasn't happy, I would try talking to her, let her know that I'm not happy, and it never turned out good. And it would just kind of get me frustrated and hot. And what I like to try to do, go out to Sam's Town and go bowling, something to clear my head, and then come back and try to, attack the situation again. And it just never, I don't know what it was, but it never turned out to be great all the time. But we talk about this all the time too. If it gets to that point where you're not happy in that relationship, because that's going to fuck up your mental, man, if you're not leaving, you gotta at least let yourself be heard every day to the point where your spouse or your significant other should sit down and be like, okay, what's really going on? What's wrong? You want to talk? Let's talk. It shouldn't just be pushed aside. Oh, excuse me. That was a little burp there at the end.
For me, man, I've dated a lot since I've been messing around and dating girls since I was like 12 years old. I'm the only boy in my family, so I'm extra emotional.
Body count.
Same here.
Nah, body count low. I still got the lowest numbers, man. I got a lot of platonic friends. Believe that. There's a lot of women out there that I don't touch. I never did touch, but yeah. Anyways, that's another story. A lot of great women, like a lot of great girls. Like I've dated a lot of great women. Shout out to all of them. I don't think I have a bad. I haven't burned a bridge with any of them. Maybe the last one.
Jordan, just real quick, can you say that part again for me?
Burned a bridge.
No. Just shout out to all of them.
Yeah, shout out to all of them.
I say that literally as bad as it sounds. I'm sorry to cut you off, but every day I always say shout out to all my exes because I feel like other than my family,
you grow from
that's who made me who I am today. All those experiences, and I still talk to most women a lot today too. So hey, I just wanted you to say that again because I didn't want to think I'm the crazy one who's like, yo, shout out to my exes.
Yeah, shout out to exes. But where I'm getting to the point is, in life, we're gonna have bad days. Like I mentioned a little while ago, like I try to be macho man, but I'm super emotional, right? So I have a lot of bad days. Like things, I'm too exposed, and I get ticked off. I get in a bad mood. I get in a bad vibe for like even if it's like 10, 15 minute spurts. It's like weird, right? Griselda, out of all those women, like genuinely, like literally put my mental health first. Like she told me, like the only thing I care about is like your mental space. Like no woman's ever told me that. You know what I'm saying? Like she genuinely loves me. So when I'm if I could have today. You know what I'm saying? It's like today was the day, today, you know what I'm saying? Like we're balancing, we're trying to balance everything, still trying to go to the gym, still do us and I went to the gym first, got caught up on the verdict stuff with all the boys and different group texts, so I'm like tapped in. And she's over there.
20 group texts though.
I'm in a whole bunch of other ones. So
y'all don't know how to.
So she's over there in the kitchen. She's like, "Hey, you want breakfast?" I'm like, "Nah." She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "That whole verdict thing. I'm going back and forth with work people because I work with cops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I work with a bunch of Republicans, and it's like trying to educate them a little bit, try to help them see both sides. I do too much. So, anyways, I'm in a mood. And then my boy Jesse was like, yo, I need to get them tubs I'll let you borrow. Can you meet me at such and such? So I was like, cool, let me scramble and get those real quick. So I didn't eat because I blew it off, which is my fault. She always makes sure I eat. I didn't eat, blew it off, got cranky. I'm upstairs getting the tubs and shit, and then she comes up there to help me, and I dumped one, and I'm like, this is bullshit. And I don't know, I got mad, and she's in the doorway, and I'm like, move. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, oh, don't talk to me like that. So I left, and I'm driving, and I'm like, dude, you can't treat that girl like that. Like,
Right.
she literally, like, loves me. Like, literally, like I said, she makes sure I eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all her fault. You know,
That's because she don't want that. That's I'm looking at you no more. Like,
I think that had already started, right?
so it's like for me, that what helps me, like you were saying, like if you're not happy and you vocalizing it and your partner's not catching on to it or not realizing that, it's an issue. But when you have a partner that does that, it's even harder because now you gotta check yourself and you gotta remind yourself, like, she don't deserve that. Like, you know how hard it is as men to look in the mirror and be like, I'm wrong, and to be like all the time. Like,
I had to do it the other
My
day.
self-reflection right now.
yeah. So if you don't have,
Man.
it's very like if you don't have that maturity to be like, all right, shit, I'm acting up. Even when you are having a bad day, your relationship's gonna be a little bit rocky. So,
Had that the other day. She was just trying to get me to go to sleep, be comfortable.
yeah.
I was being stubborn. I was tired. You know when you get like half asleep. No, I'm not gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized I was like, man, that was a dick move.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm sorry. Like, come here real quick.
Yeah.
Let me hug this out because I fucked that up real bad.
Yeah. So you basically answer your question was like how important is it for you to have a balanced mental health in a relationship, bro? That shit is gold, bro. Like, I don't think you can be in a relationship with anybody until like you don't. And I think Scoop can attest to this. Like, he's going to get his mental right so he can be better for his wife.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't got it, if you don't got your mental space ready, and you don't got somebody that, if you're not helping each other get your mental space ready, then it's okay to walk away, like you said.
And it's one of those things, like for me, you know, you, like David said, like something growing up, you know, like my biggest issue, and we'll touch on this when we transition, was like, I go all the way back to what happened in my life at 12, where like, this is what formed me to think the way I do, this is what formed me to overwork the way I work and everything else. And so for me, like you guys know, like before this car accident last week, I'm 3-4 hours of sleep, 3 a.m. to 11 p.m., balls to the wall on the grind. And, you know, having a wife that's like, well, you're always working. Like, you ever want to sit down? Or I want to go on vacation. I'm like, you plan it, I pay for it. But she's like, we got to plan this together. And it's like, I already told you, if you plan it, I'll pay for it. Like, I'm doing this, I'm busy. And, you know, for me, it was just like, I overworked, and she was always like, oh, you need to work less. And like, even when I do work, I'm a perfectionist. And so like, I'll do the same process 5 to 10 times. So I'm like, all right, either I cannot change this, or, you know, this is just how it's going to be.
It's a whole nother aspect of mental health right there.
Yeah. And so, and I, like in my counselor, he was like, OCD and insanity are literally because you're either wired this way or you just think that you can make magic happen. He's like, when you're wired that way, you have OCD. When you think you can make magic happen, you're insane. And he was like, you don't have OCD. You're insane. He's like, your insanity is hurting other people. And I'm like, nah. And so for me, like, my perfectionism wears off on, like, not wears off on her, used to make me look at her in a certain light. Because I'm like, bro, like, you know, I tell people all the time, like, I have the greatest mom in the world. And when it came down to it, like, when I was younger and I was like, let me, like, see women, and it was like, you know, I had a few, but then it was like, the thing that stuck out about her was, I was like, she has the best potential to be closest to a woman like my mom. Like, and I tell her all the time, like, my mom's responsibility in life was to make sure I was good as a man. You will never be my mom. I don't want you to be my mom. You cannot be my mom.
That part.
But I see the
That's a whole episode.
I see the potential and qualities in you that I saw in my mom. And, you know, it was, and for me, I'm impatient in life. Like, you know, I'm used to being the go-getter. Like, I've had to, if I want it, I'm gonna go get it. And she, you know, I always mess with her. I'm like, she's been spoiled her whole life. She's the only girl in her whole family. And so she's been spoiled her whole life. Like, so for her, it's just like, well, I'll wait around till it comes. And I had to learn with myself that that's okay. Like, everybody's not like that. And, you know, for a long time, I was like that with my little brother, where I'm like, dude, you have so much potential to be better. Be better. And it was just like, well,
don't just talk about it.
Yeah.
And go out there and do something about it.
And so for me, it was just like, man. But like, you know, just going to therapy, because the things that would happen would be like, you know, it would get, arguments would get nasty, because it'd be like, well, you do all this working and you ain't made $1 million yet, so you must be working for no reason. So it's like, now you hit my manhood. Yeah, like now you hit my manhood, and like you talking about finances, where it's like, what are you doing? Like, and so, you know, things would get volatile. You know,
let me give you a little piece of advice, brother, real quick before we move on. And this is something I'm kind of learning myself right now. When you bring, just all my men, when you bringing in the money and you letting your wife, you know, do the housewife thing, whatever, or even if not, if she's trying, you just a breadwinner. Don't let that be your only. Don't let that be your excuse. You know how you mentioned she wanted to plan a trip with you. You're like, nah, just pay for it. I'll do it. Nah, bro. Like,
it's about you too.
Plan the trip with her. You know what I'm saying? You know, just don't let it be an excuse like, oh, I'm gonna bring on the money. She can't tell me nothing. Cause that's gonna be toxic.
Money does not decide your status in the relationship.
It don't.
And before we do transition, I did want to say this to my previous relationship. Not gonna throw her on the bus. She was a great woman. I still love her to today. I wish we would talk a lot more, but this right here, when I used to tell her I want to go out and chill with my boys, just in case she's listening, this right here was what I needed and what I wanted to do to check my mentals. And I just wish, like, that's what I was saying earlier, people would actually take the time and actually listen when you're like crying out for help. Like, this is what I need to go do to clear my head. So like when I said earlier too, like a lot of self-reflection, like how you guys are talking about, like me sitting down right now is like having all these flashbacks in my head, like where I was like, damn, I should have admitted I was wrong, and then there's times I did admit I was wrong, and sometimes, you know, when you do admit it, you guys don't get the same, like the positive, like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be fine. Right. You get that back burn sometimes.
Some people don't take criticism well right away.
Yeah, and sometimes like Pops used to tell me all the time as a kid, because I see him and Mom get into it. Like, my parents been married 32 years, and like Pops used to tell me, he's like, son, I'm gonna explain something to you. Sometimes you gotta lose the battle to win the war. And I was like, what?
Most times.
And yeah, and he was like, at the end of the day, he was like, you know, and like my dad's a pastor, so he's like, so it comes down to this. He's like, I'm gonna tell you now, nowhere in the Bible does it say, woman, love your husband. But the Bible says many a times, men, love your wife as Jesus loved the church. So he was like, at the end of the day, you as a man have to give that love. She has to be comfortable enough with you to give you that love. Are you doing for her? And that was my biggest thing, where it was like, I'm doing what I thought a man should do for somebody, not what you wanted me to do for you as your man. And so I was like, no, like, you know, I'm bringing home the money. Like, I buy you, I'm like, I see your bag ripping, I'm gonna go buy you 3. Now you got 3 of them to choose from. Oh, all right, you like them Jordans your homegirl got? I'm gonna buy you the next 2 pair. So it's like, you know, I'm buying you all this stuff, doing all this stuff, and like I tell her a lot, it's a testament to what I grew up around too. Like, I grew up around a lot of materialistic females. So it was like, you know, she's like, oh, that's cute. All right, here you go. Like, send the mail 3 days later, and it's like, oh, I didn't really want this. And it's like, but I bought it for you. But then it was like that learning of, you know, sometimes she just want to be held. Sometimes she just want a forehead kiss. Sometimes she just want me to buy her some bodega tacos and call it a day.
Man, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for me, something I don't think we really touched on is the compromise. You're asking how do you deal with a relationship, and I think it always is compromise. Also learning that you change as a person. So I may act differently now at 32 than I did at 19, 20. And I've been lucky enough that I've had somebody that she's grown with me through those changes and she can accept it. But I know that's a lot of compromise from her to know, hey, okay, he used to want to talk about this stuff. Now he wants to be left alone, or he's working and he's busy. No one, all right, hey, here's your space. Here's how I can give you that space. And me trying to do the same thing for her, and also not having an expectation for the other. It's not a job.
Amen.
This person it's their life too.
Amen.
So like I expect nothing from her. She, I don't think, expects anything from me. We just both try to make each other's life as comfortable and as good as we can.
As it should be, honestly.
Amen.
Thank you.
It's not always roses, but
Right.
you try your best to make it.
I say it is always roses, but some of those roses come with thorns.
Not even that, you gotta remember, for when you plant those seeds, the seed gotta break, it gotta push through the soil before you actually get the flower.
Yeah, and don't forget when the sun go down, come back up with that. All these analogies.
Oh, we out here preaching. We preaching.
Bro, this is just like the
So
meme.
we're done drinking.
That's
So
just
Just like the meme. Bro, that one, but this is all like the meme too. Like boys' night. This what we had church, we Bible study right now. This boy, ladies, we really be. This is boys' night. We really do this.
When I say I want to kick it with the boys, this is me kicking it with the boys,
Yeah,
watching the
we
game,
do
having
this.
some drinks, and
Oh yeah,
being able to share a good
All
moment.
right, so the next thing we're gonna transition to, and you guys can pass off this one, but what do you think if you look at life? What do you think is the thing that has shaped your mental health the most? I'll start.
Please do.
That way,
Yeah, please.
You guys probably don't know, but a lot of people who know me since middle school, early days of high school. When I was 12, my dad had kidney failure. So, and at that time, my oldest sister was moving out. My little brother, it was me and him. Probably I don't know if you guys have ever seen anybody on dialysis. I always tell people hey, I don't know what it's like to completely lose a parent. I just don't. But to sit for years, I had my license at 13 because I had to be able to take my dad to dialysis. To sit for years and watch home dialysis at the dialysis center. My pop spent more time in the hospital than he did at home. And so for me, it was one of those things where, I automatically went into, my mom's going through enough stress. I don't want to make sure she has to deal with anything from me. And that was how I sort of took out my pain. My little brother, 12, 13 years old, he got into drugs, and, I'm fighting him to not do this. And then, family members find out, and it's oh, I want to save him. And it's you're not saving him, you're enabling him. So I spent a lot of years of my dad being sick and family members thinking that they were going to come in with a cape and everything going and save us. But then it was it was never about us. It was about how they made themselves look good. Oh yeah, I brought Sammy boy over here and this and that. And so for me, it was just it tore on my mentals, and for years I talked to them I was their age. I didn't care. You when I needed you most as a kid, you weren't there to save me. You were there about how you made yourself look good. And it was something that stuck with me for a while. And just going to therapy and sitting through it, I became hard to the world. And because my thing was, I developed that insane perfectionist mentality at a young age, because my thought was, if I do everything correct, my mom does not have to worry about me. But then as I got older, it was if you want to be in my circle, you got to do everything right. You don't do this right, I don't need you. I don't need you. I started hustling, and I sold drugs for a year.
I think we all been there.
But
Not really.
but I went out here hugging the block. But at 12, man, when I say I used to be the Mike Jackson smooth criminal, I used to Like this is back when Circuit City was in.
Oh yeah, I was a thief for sure.
Hey, I used to go to Circuit City. Squeeze the PlayStation 2 games to where it would slide, slit the middle, boom, slide the game out, be gone. Game never opened up. People go home with an empty case.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh man.
Hey, but man, like that Pokemon cards, but I get it.
Hollywood Video on the east side, man.
Hey,
Every time.
chill out. But hey,
Hold on, we gotta pause it real quick. This shit just had a malfunction.
Reason, what you doing?
Not on this episode. What?
We still rolling up there though.
Yeah, we still rolling up there.
Yeah,
Go ahead, keep going. I'll figure this out.
But yeah, no, man, like, you know, I was out here like, if I could make a profit off of it, I'll make a profit off of it. But then as I got older, it was just like, you know, I had that mentality of like, I'm gonna go get her, like, I'll figure it out. I don't need help, I'll figure it out. But then it ended up causing me to be like, you know, when I started burning bridges with people, that's when I was like, damn, this is weird. Like, instead of you wanting to raise your level, you just kick me to the side. But it was also one of those things where, like, you know, even when I started Ultra Bikes, I was expecting to be Nike at $100 level. And it was like, bro, that ain't it. Like, that's just not it.
Definitely not on that level.
And so, but yeah, man, that's what has affected my mental health the most, just going back and being like, you know, actually seeing my dad sick and everything, and not having that sense of security and feeling like I had to figure it out every time. And then now when people, you know, my relationship, my wife should have a sense of security with me. Now we go figure it out figure it out. And so things like that, man. So that's what has affected me the most.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna keep the same concept. I think the thing that affected me and still affects me the most today, Jordan had his pops. Love his pops. You had your pops. I never met your pops. I'm sure he was around. My pops left my mom's, I don't know how long when. And for me to have like a male figure in my life to tell me like some of the things that you just mentioned, like I never really had that until like my mom had Big David. But even then, like I would sit and watch them argue constantly. This guy wasn't fucking with me because he had his own kids back in Boston. Mm-hmm. Like, and still to today, like, I mean, there's a couple, you know, male figures in my life now I can go and talk to, but back in the day, it's like, y'all should have came and talked to me. Like, when I was fucking up, y'all should have been beating my ass, telling me the wrong to right, like, that's what I needed. And I feel like, so to today, like, it hits me the most because I want to be a father.
Right.
Like, I'm still a stepdad to Malaya, you know, my wife's daughter, like, but she's kind of holding that against me. We're not going to talk about that, but like, I want to be that bigger aspect that I never had. Like, last year, I did the 23andMe and I found out my dad's side, I have 2 other sisters and a younger brother. I thought I was the only dude, like, in my family. So, like, shit, and I'm on 23andMe every day because it updates family members, and it just hits me, and I'm like,
I'm the only one running away from the family.
damn, like, like what's going on? Like, where's all this? I can't even say that I want. Like, I needed it. I needed that male figure, role model in my life to like just to tune my ass up. Cause I feel like I was a hothead back in the day. I toned down a lot. I think just from doing Muay Thai and talking to you guys. But like every day, and I wake up. You know, I see my phone, expecting some stuff. You know, a lot of things I think is like, damn, like, what would my life be like now if my pops was ever around? And I think I'm forever, like, shout out to the guy, because, you know, he made me. Shout out to your nut, you see, whatever. But I'm going to forever hold that burden until I think that, like, my mental's fully 100. Because I don't think I'll ever be fully 100 until, like, at least me and him are sitting down in the same room and having the same fucking conversation.
Oh, yeah. Gotta make that happen.
And that was like I said when I started off. That was a lot of my childhood. It was like me doing a lot of dumb shit. And in my head is like my mom's worried about my sisters. I'm gonna go out, like you said. I sold drugs. I gang banged. Right. I robbed people. Robbed houses. I did it all. You can and shout out to me never going to jail and getting caught.
That's all about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't crying till you get caught. Shout out to grandma.
I was just about to say that. Look, I ain't gonna shout out Lucia, no, I ain't gonna name them all. Jordan, but hey, shout out to the ladies that are in my life, and you know the guys that I guess were kinda in my life, but y'all I honestly think, not trying to be rude, but a lot of people, in my opinion, as me as a child, like should have stepped up more to the plate to help me grow. Like if you're gonna be with my mom's, you gotta take on the family.
Right.
Yeah,
You can't just take on the mom.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like-
But think about it though, like this is why it's a blessing for you. This is why this is your blessing.
Oh, let's hear it.
Because
Hold on, sit up straight.
because what you just said.
I'm blocking you out.
No, what you just said, bro.
Good.
What you just said is that if you taking on my mom, you taking on the family, and because you went through that, you were the perfect stepfather. Always have been.
Man, stepdaddy, look.
And that's your gift, B.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's true. I was out.
Hey, what's this made out of? Stepdad material?
I was out on like a little feng shui last week with one of the homegirls, and I posted a story on my Instagram. And Jerry, she listens to our podcast. Like we talk a lot. I love this girl. Like respect wise, like we got the same. We went from like hanging out, partying to now like we can talk every day about anything. Yeah. But it hit me because she was like, "David, you're gonna be a great daddy." She's like, "You're always a great stepdad, and I appreciate like what you do." And I'm like, I never dated this girl, like never, like I wanted to, like nothing at that at all. And for her to hit me at that, like a randomness, I was like, I shed a tear, low key. Like I was like, yo, like this girl don't even like know me like that, but her to say that, I was like, that hit me. Shout out to you, Jerry.
That shit, bro, that takes a lot. Bro. One of the greatest men he's on my Mount Rushmore of men in my life is my Uncle Joey. Rest in peace. He had 2 sons, and neither one of them were his. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is. He never had his own kids. Like that shit. That's a different level of man shit. That's a different level.
I always like, not trying to be cocky, but I always thought that, like, especially if I'm with the chick she has a kid and I'm doing out of my most to provide for this family.
Yeah.
But it feels great to just to hear from other people. It's like in my head I'm like I'm the shit, but look at me now, like a lot. Shout out to those exes. A lot of now are exes. You know, I felt like end of the day I never really got the credibility from that person I was dating. Yeah. But like I said, nowadays I'm getting a lot more, and I respect you guys and I thank you guys because like literally. There's tears coming out of my right eye soon, so I'm gonna get another one down. Oh, they're right here now, literally, like
Jeffster.
That ass up.
Jeffster.
Really good.
So, damn, this is gonna sound selfish. You said biggest aspect that like influenced mental health, man.
Positive and stuff, like
well,
in general,
yeah.
What has affected your
mental health? Shaped your mind?
Yeah,
me.
I got you. Yeah.
It's selfish. It may sound selfish. What shaped it? What's the biggest influence? What's the biggest impact? Myself.
You gotta, it
has to.
You gotta
if it's gonna be about my brain, then it is me. Now, when I say that, I don't want it to be taken out of context. That all about me. What I mean by that is, it's all about how I took everything in. Mm-hmm. So, growing up, I had a little bit different situation than yours. My biological dad left at birth. Like, I've never, even, no possible way I'd ever known.
That's why he cooks so good.
So I would have never known who this man was. But you know, the person I think of as dad, he's been there from day one. So people are like, oh, stepdad. No.
That's dad.
That's my dad, that's my father, that's
Can you give
number
my
one.
man a shout out?
Of course. That's dad right there. Like,
what's my man's name?
John.
Shout out to John.
Shout out to John.
John, my man.
He doesn't get, it was never, oh, I want to go meet that other person. I don't give a heck. Go wherever the hell you are doing drugs or whatever it is. Peace, have your life, you're cool. You were nothing to me. So there was never an importance to know that person. It's how I took that in. I never cared to meet him. And some people of that side of the family have reached out to me. And I saw kind of how that family was just off of a Facebook message. And instantly knew I wanted no part of that. Never even responded. I was like, obviously that is not who I want to be associated with. And then to go through my childhood, I think with my tumor and a lot of other things, there was a lot of adversity. And I was shorter than everybody else. Like literally people called me midget through most of high school. You guys remember I was...
I remember your backpack hitting the back of your head.
Dude, man, you see me?
He had that big background too, like...
Dude, man, I was the nerdiest kid in high school, man.
I remember.
Hey, but I had a Cardinals jacket.
You did have a Cardinals jacket.
I was wearing about the Cardinals back in the day.
Hey,
I was like, why is he wearing this?
Hey, what you got this on for?
that was when Fitz had just started, but anyway, that's different. But going through all of that shaped me a little bit differently, honestly, to where I didn't have a filter. I would say things that
Good move.
you shouldn't say those kind of things out loud. Like,
I told
and
Mr.
that didn't
O'Malley
hit me till yearbook
bitch ass in the
signing
street.
day.
So who?
I told Mr. O'Malley in high school I was gonna whip his bitch ass in the street.
See, and then so that shaped. So I went from one attitude to a different attitude, and then I got with Carol right out of high school. Been the only person I've ever been with, so I can't shout out to the ex, but I can
But you
say
give Carol a shout out because she been down for the
Carol's
whole
always a shout out. She don't need a shout. She's my everything all the time.
Hold it down.
The reason why I'm even here for most of this, but
P, hold it down.
Hold it down.
that's been 14 years of different things that have shaped me, from careers, college twice. Thank God we're almost done.
I haven't started my second leg yet.
But
I mean, that
when I
motherfucker
say
full time.
I am the biggest influence or impact or anything on mental health, yeah, because it's all about how I would have taken each one of those to get me to where I am now.
Yeah.
If I ignore my parents, if I ignore Carol, if I ignore childhood experiences, that's going to be something different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only way I can impact or change my own mental health is me. Nobody can do that for me. Nobody can go into my brain and say, just change this a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you may be able to say it enough times that I eventually listen to you, but
Yeah, I think that goes back to what I was always said is, until you love yourself, man.
yeah, it's all about what you do for you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. At the end of the day, my grandpa used to tell us all the time, man, like, nobody's gonna take care of you more than you take care of yourself. So, yeah. Okay. That's it?
that's it for me. So it may sound selfish, but it's just me.
I don't even know where to go for me. Shit. It's like a.
I'd be pretty pissed off if I was a Suns and a Cardinals fan. I mean, that might shape my mental
I've been
health.
watching these L's for a minute, but they've been winning lately, so.
Hey, just because you win for a year, man.
Man,
That's why
I
he's so
think
high on the
people,
scales.
for me, so mental health, so your mental capacity, your mental is all about experiences and what you all live through.
Yeah.
For me, people are experiences to me. So I guess I've been fortunate enough to have had multiple positive people in my life. My grandfather, obviously, rest in peace. That dude, that was our. You know what I'm saying? Like
Back in the day,
father
I was
figure,
literally
you know what I'm
like,
saying?
when we needed advice and anything, he would sit us all down.
Then so I'm gonna go grandfather first. All right. Then it was mom. Then me and dad. We were real rocky when I was a teen. Like, yo, you can't tell me shit. You weren't here. But then during that same time, I kind of was like, so I'll go grandpa. I'll go mom. I'll go luck. Your boy just got lucky. Dead ass. We just got, sometimes I observed enough to make the right decisions. That's about it. Like I made the right decision. I got lucky enough to make the right decisions. So me and dad is bumping heads. I was mature enough, lucky enough to say, I'm gonna be the bigger man here, even though I'm the son. So then me and dad started getting a good relationship. So then that made my mental better. And then everything's good. I'm doing my thing, dating girls. Meet Griselda, and then always pushing her off to the side, like, nah, I'm gonna stay with this girl or that girl, all that stuff. And she always just rocked with me, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. So then I become a cop, and I'm like, shit, I could die one day, so I should probably spend my last couple moments with somebody who actually loves me for me. So pursued her. Super rough, bro. Like, cause my family loved my ex. Griselda had a boyfriend, and we just trashed everything. So everybody in the world hated us. So it was just us two. It was us two. You know what I'm saying? And
It's just like, we against the real bitch.
Right?
literally, it's just us two, right? And then I made mistakes early in the relationship. So then she was kind of questioning, like, damn, did I do the right decision with you? Like, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm just doing the same shit over and over again. And then she, like, for her, she found God. and I wasn't like religious and none of that stuff. Like, you know, like whatever.
Damn, Lisa.
You know what I'm saying? I was never into that shit. But she found it, and because at the time I was still fighting back for her, like literally like a month into our relationship. I'm fighting for her, like shit, I already fucked up. Like, no, like, no, my bad. I was like, I'll go with you. I'll go to church. So I went to church. So then that made me a little bit better because then I started seeing that aspect of it, of life, and just the common sense. Church is common sense. That shit is common sense. Bible is common sense, bro. Like, it really is, bro. But common sense ain't that much common. Y'all know that.
That's the thing. Literally.
You see the thing, right? I don't even like
common sense, bro. Common sense ain't that common. That's why it's such a phenomenon.
That's what people read the Bible and they're like,
this is
I had an epiphany.
It used to be common sense.
Yeah.
It used to be things that were taught.
Yeah.
It was passed down from generation to generation. It's not common sense anymore because you're not taught at an early age.
Right. So because I wasn't taught.
It starts at home.
Right. So I wasn't taught, so I didn't know. So then, so Griselda introduced me to that. We did it together. And I was like, that's probably the most powerful. That's like the foundation of a relationship.
Yeah. Literally, any marriage, and that's the thing. Like I tell people all the time, like, you know, my dad's a pastor, and like, I mean, you know, when I was younger, I could tell you all 6 books of the Bible in order and everything goes. But like I remember my dad used to be like, any relationship not built on God ain't gonna last. Yeah. He was like, whether you believe in God or not, he was like, if you don't have faith in that other person, and you don't have faith that y'all go get through things together, and God is behind you pushing you, he's like, it ain't gonna last.
You gotta have something for sure.
Yeah,
and then
like
religion. My last one, and then we can move on. My last experience that has elevated my mental health is my daughter, dude. Like, that shit is unexplainable.
Hey man,
because you. I love it. A kid is the best way to keep all of your emotions in check. You can't just go off on your kid,
bro. When we talking about
across the room,
we talking about, bro. We talk about Jordan Jackson. Like, if I have one vice in this world, one thing is women. You know what I'm saying? And there's been times where it's like I'll be working overtime, or I'll just be working, or I'll just be me, or I'll just be right. Wife, you can attest to it when she come back in. Like we went to a cigar bar and this lady just started flirting with me. Whatever. But now, bro, when I see my daughter, when I have my daughter, like not only is I'm trying to do right by my woman,
you trying to do right.
I gotta do right by my daughter, dog. Because I will never be the reason that my daughter's parents aren't together. It ain't gonna be me. It ain't. It just can't. Like, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure if she wanna go her own way and do her own thing, she fall in love and we try to work through it and it don't work, cool. But it ain't ever gonna be because of me and fucking around with some other woman or whatever. So taking that experience, taking that experience of Camila, that elevates. So I look at mental health as experiences and I look at people as experiences. So yeah, that's it for me.
All right, I would say to wrap things up, how do you feel you can take the things you've learned to help your mental health and use it as your walk and your testimony to help others?
Jeff started off because I felt like me and Scoop been starting off past couple of times, and Jordan's always
I started off early.
So
you on hot seat, dog?
So like, how do you move forward with your mental health?
Oh no. So like you know you're what, 32? I just turned 30 yesterday. Like, we're all older now. Moving forward now in life, like, how are we going to use what we've learned about our mental health to help others?
Man, I've learned so much over. I never thought college was going to do that for me. And I know in these times, really, for a lot of people, college is useless. It really is. But I will say, over these last 3 years at UNLV, it did way more than any of my other college experience, but I learned so much about my mental capacity in management classes, learning that management is so much about your own mental health and making sure you know how to control yourself and how to read the room, how to read the people in the room, how to treat people, stuff like that it really made me reflect on myself so much. And I've gone through a lot of ups, downs, stress of even just being in school and trying to use all of that stress and all of that knowledge to say, I'm going somewhere, going forward. And so one thing I learned, and it wasn't direct mental health, is I had a management class and he said, I want you to turn off the news. this whole semester. Turn off the news. Every day, I want you to do 1 random act of kindness. If you can do up to 3, the better.
Dude, who's that professor?
I'll have to get you his name.
That's legit.
But there was a third part of this, and it was writing down, not just a journal, but writing down at least 3 to 7 things you were thankful for every day. Yeah, no matter how simple, no matter how small. I'm thankful that this is fucking carpet. If it was tile, I'd be cold in the morning. I don't care. You're thankful for it. Write it down. You're thankful for that.
And Jeff passed that on to me like earlier this year too about like writing down shit.
It will reset your whole brain.
Yeah.
And I promise you, half the class looked at it and were like, "You're nuts." Like, this class is going to be stupid as hell.
Yeah.
But you know what? Using those things, I turned off the news. If I see the news on my social media, and you guys can probably attest, you guys will go crazy. You guys were going nuts about the Rittenhouse thing.
Yeah.
1 text.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get to.
I don't want to even deal with it. I want to shine on the positive.
Yeah.
If there is negative, okay, cool. Negative happened. Done. I'm done with the negative. Reprogram my brain to be happy instead of being programmed to be sad and negative. So going forward, use those to that lesson. It's going to be the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That was a life lesson he taught us.
That's cool. You definitely got that.
It's not just, oh, I'm going to go out into nature and take a week off. No. Change the way you do life.
I'm sorry, but I'm thinking in my head, so many people will hate you for that statement right now. They gonna cancel.
That's okay.
That's truthful because you get a lot of people like, you know,
It's
think
just
about
not enough time.
how many people have you worked with where they'd be like, oh, I fucking hate life, I'm gonna take a week off work, and then come back and they in the same shoes, and it's like
They'll be good for 2 months.
Bro,
I
and then
wouldn't even
they're
say
gonna
that.
be
They
pissed.
come back and they're worse.
Yeah,
But they
like-
got to take on a lot more.
Oh,
because they was going.
now I'm coming back.
yeah, and it's like, bro, retrain your mind, like, and that's my thing, like,
Habits, it takes what, 21 days at the
Yeah,
very least
to change a habit.
to start changing the habit.
Like, and I had a professor like that, AB, is a black dude, AB, this was when I got my associates in business at CSN, who said that, he was like, if you sit here and you watch negativity all day, he's like, every single thing you do, every single thing they put on TV other than sports is negative. He was like, even when they commentate sports, they don't commentate about the good things they did. They commentate about the worst things that happened. And we're
Hot
trained
takes.
to,
Hot takes is
be
negative.
negative. He's like, pull the positive out of life, because once you can do that, the negative goes by. And like, that was one thing he said, you know, he was like, in your relationships, pull the positive out. He's like, when the negatives outweigh the positives and you can't pull positives out, it's not good for you.
Quick time. Shout out to Dr. Victor Isbell.
Isbell.
That was dope.
The GOAT when it comes to professors.
Gang. Oh, this shit up.
Can I get on my soapbox real quick?
Go ahead. Uh-oh.
I'm on my soapbox.
Uh-oh.
To all my people. Suit tie.
When all you watch is negativity for 20 years.
Goot's question was, what am I going to do to pass on
The sons.
positive thinking? This is my first message. If you're not actively trying to improve your space, your people's space around you, even if it's on social media about what you retweet and what you say, and I'm guilty. If you're not trying to push positivity and be the change, shut the hell up. If you just gonna be on there all day, just passing judgment, they should have did this. How could they do that? If he was this, or if they was that, or if she was that, but you ain't doing shit, you're done. You get no validation. Stop. You just negative. All right, off my soapbox.
How many times do you have to say that like work?
Bruh, all the time. So, what's gonna be for me to keep my positive, one is I'm still gonna educate, still gonna read, still gonna educate, positive stuff. I'm gonna get back into school. And I'm gonna keep it in house, man. My family, my friends, those that are close to me that I see on a daily, talk to on a daily, my children. And that's all I can do. That's all I can do. We're not doing this for fucking millions of dollars and millions of followers and clout and all this shit.
But if you want to share.
But yeah, for sure.
If you want to share, yeah.
Subscribe, like.
But we doing this because this is my in-house. This is my family. You know what I'm saying? We're expressing positivity. We doing something. We're creating change just right here, because he's gonna go take care of his. He gonna go take care of his. He gonna go take care of his.
And if you need somebody to talk to,
we got validation. We doing something. Just do something instead of just sitting on the couch passing judgment.
I'm gonna go right after that because almost every day when I wake up, you see my Twitter. What do I say?
Good morning.
Get up and get active. So, with your question,
my ankle.
Your I mean, no. When I say get up and get active, I mean get up and be productive. Go out there and preach to the youth. Go out there and bet to answer your question, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to Jordan kind of summed it up. I'm gonna try to level up myself every day when I wake up, and then when I'm doing that, I'm also gonna educate the youth, educate my family, educate those who want to be around me. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna put the knowledge that got shared upon me, that I felt hit me the hardest, I'm gonna pass it on to those who I feel like are in need or in use. Like coaching football teams, I started doing that. Doing Muay Thai, teaching people. I don't teach people, but I'll share some knowledge on that.
You a part of that community,
even if it's like people think I'm a cop, honestly, Jay, because I talk so much about like a lot of the crime and everything. Like I'm just gonna educate to the point where. I don't even know, because like I said, I'm always going to try to just level up myself. I don't feel like you can level up yourself enough to the point where you're going to sit back and be like, I'm comfortable, I'm not going to do nothing. Like, nah, you got to get up. Like, the Mr. Go Get It here, get up and go get it, man. Like, that's really all it is. If you want one of those people, like Jordan said, you sit back and you criticize, you don't want to do shit, your life, you're comfortable just not doing shit, let me tell y'all, come visit us at the Man U. Like... Not trying to toot no horns.
Why is it a W?
Nah, how do Miami, the Unicorns do it? Miami University.
That's because they got a U.
Yeah, Man U.
Man U, nigga. Oh, well.
that don't look like a U either.
Yeah, it was a little crooked.
Hey, give me the soldier.
Take the alcohol.
Take the alcohol.
But that's about it. I mean, and I say come visit Man U. I mean, Jeff kind of said it too.
If you message us on Instagram, it could be any of us.
Reach out.
If you do it through Facebook, it's probably gonna be me, maybe David now. If you hit it up Twitter, who's taking care of Twitter?
That would be.
That's 3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I ain't touching that.
Twitter's tough, but it's tough.
And if they say the N word a lot, it's Gabe.
Right? Every other word.
Shout out to Gabe.
Every other word in your sentence is the N word. It is Gabe, okay? If every sentence starts with the N word and has it at least twice.
Bro, I used to be like that too, bro. When I worked at Blue Man Group, mind you, I worked with a bunch of Caucasian folks.
You stopped because you couldn't dance, huh?
Bro, no, I worked with Jasper, Jesse, and this other dude, Manny. There's 3 other black dudes, everybody else is white. There's like 12.
Kunda Black too, he was in there.
Bro, I was in there dropping M-bombs all day. This is the first week. Manny comes up to me. He was like, hey, bro, you saying the N-word too much. Ever since then, bro, I stopped saying that shit. If a black person tell you say the N-word too much, Gabe,
you say the N-word too much.
But for real, I had a group of dudes in high school that walked up to me and were like, say it. Come on, say it. I'm like,
good, baby.
No, I'm not saying it. Like, you're trying to jump me here. I'm not giving you a reason.
I don't pass judgment. That's just me. I don't think anybody should say it. Just period.
Yeah, I mean,
I say it still, but we should just
stop saying it.
Does it mean something mental health?
It's awkward. If it's a word that's awkward, let's just leave it alone, bro. Like you see, we hang out. We're all racist. If it's an awkward word and it causes like a moment, just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone.
Okay, bro, I love you, bro.
Come on, Camila.
Shout out to Red Gabe.
To fully wrap things up, for me, it's actually pretty weird because like my first actually like career job out of college, I was a long-term sub at Finley Middle School, and everybody's like, bro, how do you like I used to have I had 8th graders. 8th grade boys used to run to my class to make sure they were there on time. And just like the
I was getting spit wads.
just like the quality of relationship that I built with them, it was always so weird to me. And like other teachers used to be like, dude, the fact that you have like these young gentlemen running to your class, like they're getting C's and B's in your class and F's in every other class. What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just cool. But then the older I got, the more I look back on it, like Dominic Grayson followed me on Instagram the other day. He works at the Amazon you about to work at. And he's like, hey, Mr. Woods, if it weren't for you, I would never graduate high school. Like, I was going to drop. He's like, I was 16 in 8th grade. I was going to drop out after 8th grade.
Man.
He's like, but, like, just the way you used to talk to us in class, you never made us feel like we weren't good enough. You made us feel like, hey, you might have gone through some things in life, but it's okay because from here on out, we can do better.
Facts.
And he was like, you know, I always, like, he's like, when I got to high school, I had teachers I hated. And I was just like, nah, I can't let Mr. Woods down because he might show up here. And he's like, you know, if it wasn't for you, I would. And like even when I first started Ultra Bodies, like I was a personal trainer at the time, and like I remember I was training like clients. Like you know, you get the people who are like, oh, they show up, they ain't on time, and I was just like, bro, this is horrible. So then my cousin,
that's so
yeah,
sad, bro.
like my cousin Derek was getting ready to go to college. Well, no, he was getting ready to go to high school. He was playing basketball, and so I was like, all right, you know, like we'll train. He made varsity his freshman year, and I was like, oh, okay, like, we really training. And then it became a point where, like, my students from Finley were like, oh, I'm going to Legacy next year, I want to play basketball. So then it was like, boom, you know, I got the whole, like, 20 kids in the gym on the basketball court, like, yo, we all in the basketball court, running drills and everything. And so it was that, and then I went to the youth leadership company, Apex Pharma, that I worked for 5 years, and it was like, yo, like, I'm really out here being these kids' favorite superhero. Like, they called me Super Sam. Like, I was their favorite superhero. And for a while, like, I just thought I was just good at my job. And then when I really started going to therapy, Ron was like, nah, what it is you were living out what you needed as a kid for these other kids because you didn't know if they needed it or not, but you knew you could be the example for them because you went through it. And he was like, that was you living through that your mental health issues with those kids. Because he was like, if you would have never had that, you probably would have been worse off than what you are today. Because when you worked with those kids, the pain you felt, you were able to be like, I know somebody in here is feeling this pain. He's like, kids probably connected with you really well. And I said, they did because I let them know I knew how they felt and I understood them. He's like, that's what a lot of them want. They just want somebody to understand. You can't save them. They know you can't save them, but they just want somebody to understand that they're going through something. And he was like, that's what you wanted, right? And I was like, yeah. And he said, that's how you were able to save so many of them. And so for me, that's my continuation. You know, I got my master's in computer engineering, but I definitely want to go back to something where I either teach youth or like have a
sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, nonprofit or so with the youth, just because, you know, I did have a troubled childhood, and it, you know, it didn't pan out the way 90% of them do, but I did have one, and I want to be able to make sure that the kids who have one understand, like, yo, a jail cell, dead, it ain't the way to go, because, you know, like I told you guys, like, I've lost many family members and things before 25. Like, and I remember people used to be like, is that a joke? And I'm like, nah, bro, that's legit. Like, I've lost many, and to, like, you know, and that's another thing for me, like, why I don't get into the whole, like, politics thing and stuff, because I'm like, I've lost more people to us acting stupid than that. So I'm not gonna worry about that because I need to fix this issue that's a lot bigger.
Amen.
And so, you know, for me, that's my whole thing where it's like, I've lost people, I come from that environment, you know, and my number one goal was, I don't want to be like this environment. And I know that there's kids there that don't have an outlook, that don't want to be there, but all they see is, that's what I'm going to end up as. I don't have no other way. So I want to be that person that shows them, like, hey, bro, it's another way. We could do this.
Do we have time for another topic?
Yeah, sure.
So here's a topic that links really closely to that. And yeah, I was with a group last week. Just we're hanging out for a friend's birthday, you know. Whole bunch of dads kind of hanging out. Some of them stepdad. Me, I'm not a dad. I really tried to kind of be that big brother, father, man figure to a few. But something that they said didn't sit right with me. And maybe it's because I'm not a parent. But even if I was, this mentality doesn't sit into me. And it's no disrespect to them, but it just doesn't. It's not something I agree with. And what your guys' input is, multiple guys sitting around a table, and I think this is how they were brought up, is they were talking about their sons. And they said they got to treat them like shit sometimes. To show them that it's tough, or to grow character, And now I think, and I'm like, I've seen them do that, and it didn't sit right with me at the moment. And now that I know that they're doing it on purpose, it really doesn't sit right with me, because I feel like you should always do the best for. They're still a human being. They're still a person. You got to teach them. So if they make that mistake, you can let them make their mistakes, things like that. Let life teach them those lessons. And let things come to them. Try to give them as much warning as you can, but don't purposely put them in a situation to feel that way. Don't purposely. Would you like it done to you? Their brain is more fragile than yours. You maybe have already been through that, and it's unfortunate that you did. Now make sure that they don't. That's how I felt.
The fact that they're here, they go ahead.
Do you guys agree with that mentality of, and that was directly towards the sons. Yeah. I highly doubt that would be directed towards a daughter. That you gotta treat them like that sometimes.
I'll go second to last.
Nah, you go first. You got a kid, bro.
Alright, yeah. Because I wanted to have a boy. Like, I was like, I want a boy. I want a boy for all the cool shit, right? And then I had Camille, and I was like, damn, I want all girls. Because then I was like, I'm kind of scared to have a boy. Because what excuses is he gonna have? Because he gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't gonna have no, I don't feel like doing this. Motherfucker, you ain't got a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he ain't got no, if I can make it, mother, you definitely about to make it. You know what I'm saying? So I was scared, like, I'm about to be super, super duper hard on this kid if I have a boy.
So you did feel that.
So check this out though. I felt it like, initially, like, I'm about to be, I'll tell people, I'll probably just change this mentality this week. It's crazy you ask this shit. Because I was like, I'm scared to have a boy. And I'm like, why? Because I'm going to be super hard on him. Like, I felt like I'm going to be way too hard on him. Like, and then I was like, you know what, dude? You know the only thing kids need is love.
Yeah.
Period. That's all they need is love. Let these kids be kids. You're there. If you're a dad and you're in your kid's life, you good. That's it. Just stay right there. Just love your kids. Love your kids. So whatever I get, whatever we're blessed with, I'm gonna love them the same. I'm gonna treat them the same, for the most part. Camila can't do certain shit her brothers can do. It just is what it is. It's a safety thing, all right.
Double standard is still there.
You can't climb up on top of the roof.
But yeah, definitely, bro. I definitely don't think that if you're a man and you got a boy, just give your son love because. Fuck, bro. That's all these kids need, bro, is love. That's all we ever needed when we was kids, was love, bro. That's it.
Would you say there's one story or time in your life that you could give an example of something like that? It stuck with you. Either they treated you badly, whether you thought they treated you badly, or maybe you thought they were just too tough, or maybe somebody was too light on you?
My mom and my dad and my grandpa, they were all pretty even. I think they did it right. They weren't hard on me at all. My mom definitely laid the smack down a couple times when I got disrespectful. Definitely got punched and shit. It wasn't like it was like my sister didn't get that same type of.
So when she was cooking,
when I was a teen, when I was 12, 13 years old, like I was a big boy at that time. So when I disrespected my mom, yeah, but I stopped though. When I disrespected my mom one time, she clocked me.
You were never
my damn chest. Never again. But as far as like pressure, I think you're talking about pressure.
Well, not necessarily pressure, but so really quick, I'll give my quick example. My dad, when I was learning how to drive, I got in an accident. I got home because I was actually in the car with my grandpa at the time. My grandpa drove us home. It was all about you don't need to drive. My dad looked at him. He's third generation truck driver. He looked at me. If you don't get behind the wheel, you'll never drive again.
Yeah.
As an adult, I have now seen people go through that, and they'll never drive again.
Oh, your dad was doing you a favor.
But at the time, I was like, man, he's being a dick. Like, he's so hard on me. He's yelling at me, stuff like that. So now it's engraved into my brain, but I'm so thankful that he was.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be tough on your kids a little bit.
I was pissed about it, but he didn't treat me bad.
Just a little bit.
He wasn't bad to me. He was just being...
you can't be abusive.
It's a difference between treating your kids like shit and being tough on them.
Yeah, you can't
and
be
like,
abusive.
because my dad was definitely, like, you know, my dad was sick, but he was definitely tough on us as in like, son, if anything happens to me, you're the man of this house. Like, there's no way around it. You gotta help take care of your mom and help take care of things. And like for a long time, like, you know, I'd be like, oh, well, I tried. He'd be like, but how hard did you try? All right, oh, I did this. Well, how hard did you go? And for me, I was like, bro, like, why are you always so mean to me? But then, like, I had a friend, and his dad used to legit, like, just come to the house and be like, punch in the chest, gotta make you tough. And I used to be like, bro, why your dad just hit you like that? And like the craziest thing is,
So is that like a moment that would stick out to you?
yeah,
That
but
stuck with you through
the
life?
craziest thing is, his dad used to be like, I gotta make you tough all the time. And like this, Michael's still one of my best friends. I call him every day. Michael's gay now. And he's like, my dad hates me to this day. And I'm like, but your dad always was like, I gotta make you tough. Because he feared you becoming this. And I'm like, my dad was tough on us.
Pushed you so hard one way.
Yeah.
You actually went there.
Exactly.
My dad was extremely hard on us. But like, and as I got older, I remember my dad grew up dirt poor in Florida. Like my grandma's entire house is not even where the stairs is. This way, this is her whole house. On just a plot of land, no lights, no street lights, anything.
Like 30 by 10.
Yeah,
That is
literally. That's
almost
it.
like an LA studio.
Yeah, and so I'm like, my dad grew up as a migrant picking oranges up the East Coast as they grew, and so like, yeah, he had a hard life. So for him, it was be tough on us, but never treat us like shit. But I know people whose parents treated them like shit, like, oh, you fucking suck, get out, like all that shit, and a lot of them are screwed up in their head today. So I definitely don't agree with that.
Do you think it's they don't know where to draw the line? They're trying to just be tough, but they think being tough is being kind of like shitty to that person.
I think it's one or two
Almost
things.
like a misconception of the action.
It's either they don't know where to draw the line, or it was done to them.
I feel when it comes to it, let these kids be kids. I say it all the time. You gotta let them grow. They gotta learn from their own mistakes. So like, how I would see it is, let them learn their lesson, teach them that lesson, and preach them that lesson. And that doesn't mean like how your boy is saying, oh, I'm gonna teach you. They're gonna be strict. They're gonna be hard on this. Like, no, like.
And I've watched them parent, and it's not that they're like abusive in any way, but they feel like they have to, almost like the macho man mentality. I have to show you that I am the alpha. I'm still dad. It's not that they're treating them bad, but I have to be. I'm number one. Almost like a testosterone.
I think that just goes. I'm not even going to exaggerate on long because our time is short right now.
Yeah.
That has to do with more of that parents' more like personal issues.
Yeah. But it was actually a group level.
Bro, discipline.
That's a group, and that's why I say it may be something with the way a group is raised.
Let me tell you about that.
You discipline
group.
your kids, but you don't need to be fucking drill sergeant.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, there's.
Like this was my dad's theory when we were younger. To just wrap everything up, my dad used to tell us, "Son, I'm hard on you, but this is what happens. I'm hard on you because I've already made my bed and had to lie in it. You have to make your bed, and whatever you do when you make that bed, you the one who got to lie in it that night."
End of the night, yeah.
And so he was like, "What I'm trying to do is be hard on you so you understand what's going to happen. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just letting you know these are the consequences." And oh man, me and my little brother used to be so angry all the time. Like, bro, he always trying to be mean to us. But then it's like as I got older, I was like, no, Pops was just like, it's a lot of things that play back in my head now where I'm like, yo, Pops used to really be tough. But like even when like you know,
wisdom aspect. Now you see, you understand it.
But like
because
even
now you maybe know, damn, Pops was going through something.
Yeah.
Or my mom was really going through something. They never meant to project that on me.
But like even with like my friend Michael, like he's part of the LGBTQ. He has a lot of friends in the LGBTQ. Like and I as I've gotten older, I've learned that I can communicate with them, and doesn't mean that I'm gonna join the party. But like just talking to them, a lot of the males that he hangs out with literally were in the same shoes as him as a kid, where their dads treated them like dog shit and never accepted them for being their sons. And so literally, and like Michael told me, he's like, what I find in a lot of men is the love that I wanted from my dad. And I'm like, hey, your dad was there, and your dad just pushed you to the point where you knew he wasn't going to love you because he treated you like shit, so you went and found it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing where I'm like, hey, like, talk to him all the time, and you were treated this way to be tough, but now your dad doesn't see you as tough, but that's because he pushed you past being tough.
Actual definition of daddy issue.
Right.
Like not even in a negative way. Like
Exactly.
legit.
Yeah.
No.
Alright.
No.
All right. Well,
That was my last time.
Take us out, Scoop.
Or
David, what you got?
I was gonna do it for Scoop.
Sun's up.
But Scoop, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Take it. No. Go ahead, Scoop. It's your day. I don't want to take it for your day.
Hey,
Hold on.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we are gonna sing happy birthday.
Don't do that.
You don't need the mic.
Take that mic from him.
Oh, you got it.
We're gonna sing happy
We
birthday.
ain't singing up there happy birthday.
But
If y'all want to.
Okay.
Let's see that.
Hey, Scoot just hit a 10-teamer. Happy birthday, Scoot.
Which means he's buying dinner next time.
Oh shit! What
It's your birthday cake, bruh. It's a little generic joint, but
Hey,
bruh,
hey.
we're about to tear this down.
that ain't generic. They got the cheesecake mousse in the
Wait,
middle.
what did you say?
Cheesecake
The
moves,
cheesecake
bruh.
fondue with a little bit of hint of fresh.
We're gonna enjoy this. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.
Like, subscribe, shout out, manuscript. We going up.
Look at
Hey,
this.
and what can menu do for you?